Welcome to the Superkick podcast for 2024. This is the round 11 review, and we start off with the sheep playing the Mangoes at the Mango Slide, and the sheep still struggling, got a hoodoo against the Mangoes now, where they have lost the last few games. This one they've lost by 21 points with too much depth from the Mangoes. Whereas Hawkins and Lafau were the only two that kick multiples for the sheep. Final score 85-64. Next up we have Don is Good playing the Goldfest at Festival Park, and here Don is Good has got their revenge back, taking out the win by 13 points with Stringer kicking 4 goals and banking 3, while maybe Old Charles and Banfield fought valiantly, but were just not quite enough in order to get the win. Well done to Don is Good. They've now got 7 on the trot. Next game is the Vengeance versus the Stars, and the Stars have finally found their mojo back with Tom Marshall kicking 5 goals and Warner 4. However, Mychek is injured again, so that will hurt them going forward, whereas the Vengeance just really had no one, only Stengel the best with 2 goals. Final score is 45-125. Next match is the Vital versus the Quiche at Pie Park, and it's so far Vital has a better win-loss record against the Quiche, and they continued that with a 27-point win. Kerno being the difference with 4 goals for, and a few others were able to kick multiples, whereas for the Quiche they just didn't quite kick the multiples they needed. So the Quiche would be disappointed. The gap closes at the top of the ladder. Final game of the round was between the Scorpions and the Pirates at Casey Fields, and it's the Scorpions who continue their good run of form of late, with Van Rooyen kicking 3 goals and King kicking 3, whereas for the Pirates it was Langford the best with 3. They did get 3 multiple goal kickers, but were unable to find the 8th goal kicker, and this is the reason why they lost. Final score is 83-75. Take a look at the ladder now, and it's the East Quiche on top by a fair margin with a good percentage. Then Don is Good, who have rocketed up the ladder. Funky Balls in 3rd with their bye last week. Scorching Stars get back on the winners list and now 4th. Mangoes in 5th, Goldfest in 6th, Sheep, Pirates, and Vital, Magpies and Scorpions all on 5 wins, and the Vengeance at the bottom there with just the 2 wins. We're going to look now at round 12. It is the Quiche taking on the Mangoes in a good high quality match here. Then the Pirates against the Vengeance. Don is Good at home against the Funky Balls. Boogie Woogie Sheep needing a win against the Goldfest. The BH Cup is the Scorpions versus Minted Mick, and the Stars take on the Inform Magpies at the Galaxy. Moving on to the BH Cup now, with the Funky Balls playing the Walsh Dogs at the Planetarium. This is their first matchup ever, and it was the Funky Balls who were too strong for the Walsh Dogs, with Jake Riccardi and Jack Gunston kicking 4 goals between them, and Dustin Martin showing his form of the past with 3. Meanwhile, the Walsh Dogs were able to get 3 goals from Banfield, 2.5 from Lohman, and 2 from Mychek and Bailey. Final score is 114-89. Moving on to the SMS League now, and it was the Wobbly Kickers against the Rubber Gloves, and it was the Rubber Gloves who were too good here. winning by 23 points, with Todd Marshall being the best with 5 goals, being the difference. It's now 2 wins to the Rubber Gloves over the Wobbly Kickers. Final scores 69 to 92. The next match was the Fortress versus the Walsh Dogs. The second game for the Walsh Dogs this week, and they seem to have been able to find some form here and continue their head-to-head record of being more than 1 win in front, with the Walsh Dogs winning by 8 points, with Lohman and Bamfield being the best with 2 and 3 goals each. Meanwhile, Danaher and Langford tried hard, as long with Clashier Deer with 2 goals, but Waterman's inability to kick multiple goals was the difference, and the final scores were 81 to 89. Next match was the Fever versus the Pokey Bombs in a feisty clash of the Fever pitch, where the White Line Fever were able to get back on the board at the winners list, with Kerno kicking 4 goals and Ugelhagen 3. Meanwhile, King and Stengel were the best for the Pokey Bombs with 2 and 3 each. Final scores 103 to 81. In the tight tussle for this week, where it was only decided by under a kick, it was the Free Smoke going down to the A-Track by 3 points, had the Cigar Lounge, with Chen Warner starting off well with 4 goals for the Free Smoke, but just didn't have enough goal kickers here, with Van Ruin being the difference, kicking 3, along with Stringer for the A-Track. Final scores 92 to 95. In the final game of the round, it was Minton Mick versus the Bamboozled Asians at the Tin, whereby the Minton Mick produced a tremendous effort here, with Gunston kicking 4 goals and Martin kicking 3, while Riccardi was the best for the Asians, but Minton Mick winning easily by 49 points, 121 to 72. The ladder now around end of round 11. It's the Pokey Bombs on top, 1 game clear of White Line Fever. Then the Bamboozled Asians, Rocket Rod, who had the bye, Free Smoke and Fortress. Then the Rubber Gloves and Walsh Dogs, just 1 game outside the top 6, with Minted Mick and A-Track a little bit further behind, and the Wobbly Kickers out of contention with just the 1 win. Moving on to round 12, and it's the Bamboozled Asians at home against the White Line Fever. Pokey Bombs take on the informed Rocket Rod at Las Vegas. In the BH Cup, it is the Scorpions playing Minted Mick at the Planetarium. Walsh Dogs take on Minted Mick in the regular season as well. Rubber Gloves take on the Flying Fortress, and A-Track take on the Wobbly Kickers. My surprise for this week is a Carlton player who unbelievably got them over the line, and it is Zach Williams with his 4 goals. Shit like Bruce Award.
Yourself have a shot from 40. You have every right to have a shot. Trying to share the ball early, but this is what can happen.
Kicked 2 goals, we've got 11 touches the last time these 2 sides met, Cameron, and didn't make the distance. That has just